So hello, everybody. My name is Lindsay Humphreys. I'm the Program Director for Junior Achievement of New Mexico, and welcome to our Inspiring NM Student Conference. Thank you to the New Mexico Society of CPAs, who has partnered with Junior Achievement of New Mexico to make this possible. This conference was designed in order to provide New Mexico students with the opportunity to hear about personal journeys of business professionals in various careers in finance. During this 6-week conference, we will feature 2 speakers per week, a speaker on Wednesday afternoons at 1 o'clock and Thursday mornings at 10:30. During these events, you will hear our speakers share details about their education, their job, and their career journey, as well as some very valuable skills and concepts for your own future economic success. Before we get started, we'll just do our normal our virtual etiquette reminders. This recording, as I said, will be posted onto our YouTube channel. For anyone who missed the event today, feel free to send them that link. And at this time, if everyone could please type your first and last name into the chat box. And if you're an educator or a parent, or you have students on the call with you, please just let us know how many students there are behind you so that we can keep track of those numbers as well. During the speaker's presentation, please make sure your mics are muted. And if you have questions during the presentation, please write them down into the chat box and we will address them during the Q&A portion of the event. Today, we are so excited to welcome Adam Ciepiela, partner for Charles Stephen. As we continue our Inspiring New Mexico Student Conference, we are honored and thrilled to have him share with you all today. Adam, I'll share my screen and the floor is yours.
Great. Well, thank you, Lindsay. Thank you, everybody, for joining and listening to me talk today. I'm flattered and honored to be here, so this should be fun. I also want to say thank you for joining in this because I do sit on the board of Junior Achievement, and this is something very exciting that we get to do. And hopefully I bring some things that you all can take and use in your life, because I've taken stuff from the other presentations. So I'm just going to spend about 15 minutes telling my story and you know, who I am and how I got to where I am, and share some personal anecdotes along the way. And then for about 15 minutes, I'm going to share the concept of you know, what I do for a living and why you need, why having a financial planner or advisor, and really why is that important, and try to, you know, dispel some, you know, myths about working with a financial advisor. So where I started, on the screen here, you see Charles Stephen. So I'm a partner at Charles Stephen. I'm a shareholder. And really all that means is not only am I a financial advisor, but I own the company as well. So I'm a business owner and an entrepreneur at the same time. And that's a lot of fun in its own right. So there's really, you can ask 2 questions here about financial advising or business ownership. And we can kind of get right into that. Next slide, please. So growing up in my life, when I was born in Albuquerque at Presbyterian Hospital. And so I'm born and raised. I'm a local. I moved away for a while. We'll talk about that. And then I came home. So very much New Mexico is my home. Albuquerque is my home. And like everybody else, at 18, I thought this place was nuts. And I said, I'm leaving and I ain't coming back. And then, you know, 8 years later, I came back home and have been here ever since. So the influences in my life were all type A personalities. And what I mean by that is I had a lot of influences that set the bar really high in my family. So the first influence I had was my dad. And the reason my dad was such an influence on me was he started Charles Stephen. He's the Stephen in this Charles Stephen. Well, my dad grew up on the south side of Chicago in a not very good neighborhood. And he came to New Mexico here, and you can see this picture, to play football at the University of New Mexico. And if he didn't have football scholarship, he wouldn't have gone to college. So I had this as one of my influences, because first off, look at that face. I was scared, you know, to make sure I didn't cross the line or do anything. But ultimately, he was a hard worker. He got to where he was by working hard and accomplishing at a very high level that it kind of takes to play college football. So he was one of my influences. Another influence I had was my godmother, who is in a picture there, and it's actually an actress, former actress. So this is a picture from when she was in a movie called Urban Cowboy when she was 19 years old. But she set the bar high because she wanted to go into drama and became a pretty successful actress in the 80s and early 90s. She does not do it anymore. But and then finally, she ended up marrying a gentleman who became an uncle, and he ended up playing 16 years in the National Hockey League as a professional athlete himself. So these influences to me, the reason I wanted to share was, I didn't have control of the family I was born into, right? There's an old adage, you can't choose where your parents choose to live is their problem, and where you choose to live is yours, right? So these were my influences, and while great people and comforting and loving, they set the bar pretty high, just by their nature and what they did. So, you had people who excelled at a very high level. So it was kind of driven in me to excel at that level too. So that kind of had a really good influence in my life. And it also made me pretty impactful that sports was a big part of my life. Lindsay, next slide, please. So share a couple pictures of you. In 1983, Charles Stephen was founded. And the Charles is on the left here, the Stephen's on the right, my dad in 1983. And that really good looking kid with the cute blonde hair is me. So I was really exposed to my father's business at a very early age. So again, that influence of understanding what I, was exposed to kind of showed me some of what expectations are. And as I grew up, I wanted nothing to do with the business, actually. So I kind of wanted to choose my own path because what he did really didn't, inspire me in any way. Next slide. So, again, throughout my life, I kind of grew up with the sports motif. So this was me in there was a Lobo quarterback when I was young who, kind of mentored a little bit. So I got to put on his shoulder pads and his helmet and thought that was really cool. And then baseball was really my love. So I played baseball my whole life. There I was at, Roadrunner Little League. And then lastly, I played high school baseball at St. Pius, where I went to high school. So it was always, that's freshman picture. That's always kind of what sports was in my life and being part of a team. And I loved being part of a team because a team can lift you up when you have a bad day, and you can also shine on your own and be a leader. So whichever path you wanted to take, sports was always there as kind of an accomplishment and a chance for me to learn and to grow. Next slide, please. So after high school, I graduated, and like I told everybody on the call, I wanted to get out of here. I wanted to go see the world. I thought Albuquerque was terrible. It's a small place. So I'm believe it or not, for those that know me on the call, I was pretty shy as a kid in high school. And so I went to the least shy place on planet Earth to go to college, and that was Las Vegas, Nevada. Now, the reason I chose to go to UNLV and graduate in 2004 was when I went and visited the campus, out of all the places I was looking to go, it was the place I felt most comfortable. And it was the place I saw myself. And I thought that was very important to learning. Now, remember I talked about those high achievers in my life. I didn't have a choice. I was going to college in some way, shape, or form. That was just instilled in me as a young man. Today, I don't necessarily agree that college is the place for everybody. I think just some sort of higher education, whether that be in a variety of places, can do that. I think college is great. It's a great place to learn and get an education. I always say I learned more outside the classroom than I did in. You learn to live with people you don't necessarily get along with or know. You learn to find your own way without your parents there to bail you out. You learn a lot of life skills that you use the rest of your life, that you get from college, and you make lifelong friends too. I still have great friends that I went to school and we've kind of scattered to the wind, but we still stay in touch, and that's great. The key on this photo I wanted to share with you was under my name, it says I got a Bachelor of Science in Business Administration with an emphasis in marketing. that's what I wanted to do, right? When I first started, there was a couple of things. When I was in high school, I played on the baseball and the golf teams, but during the winter, I was the trainer on the basketball team. I wanted to be an athletic trainer for a while. I loved it. I loved being around sports. And I thought, what a cool way by being a trainer. Obviously, in college, I explored that, found out it really wasn't for me, and changed my major to marketing. I wanted to be part of telling the story about companies, products, what they wanted to accomplish, try to get it in front of those that need it, and we're bombarded by marketing every day. We see it every day. We marketed this presentation. We sent out flyers, told you about it, said set your calendars, tried to get you excited about coming to hear this really nerdy guy talk about finance. But at the end of the day, that's not what I went into. I wanted to do marketing. So the point I'm trying to make here is I'm still trying to figure out what I want to do when I grow up. So if you're a student, have all those interests, go ahead and try different things. And that's going to continue to go the rest of your life until you find something that you're passionate about. Some are lucky enough to find it when they're very young, and some people I know are still looking for it. The point is, you can be whatever you want, even if that's not what you start out to do or start out to think you want to do. I would say go after your dreams until you either find new dreams or accomplish that dream. So that was in 2004. Next slide. But, after 2004, it kind of looked like, I had a pretty good life growing up, and I did. I came from a good family, a strong family that pushed you very hard. But I also had some serious hurdles in my life. And those hurdles have also helped me get to where I am by teaching me a lot of valuable lessons. So in 2004, I graduated in college. Next slide. But then in 2011, go ahead. It was really 2008 when I got a diagnosis. I had kidney failure. So kidneys are those organs there, and they help filter blood and do some good stuff for your body, and mine were failing. I was diagnosed with a disease called FSGS. Those are 4 letters that stand for this really long word that honestly, I don't even know what it means anymore. But it's a condition where my kidneys stopped working. And when I found out about it, my kidneys were at 25% function. So a transplant, which is a treatment, or dialysis, which is a treatment, were impending on me. I was not going to avoid it. I needed it. I had to have it. 25% you can still function on for a while, and I did for a few years. But I was very restrictive in diet. Anyway, long story short, I had to get some sort of treatment for my failing kidneys. So in 2011, next slide, I was given a kidney transplant by my brother, who is there on the left. Now, this photo was actually taken the day before my transplant. In Arizona, we went and played golf, which I love to do, and so does my family, before I had my transplant. And that day was December 21st, 2010. And we were in Arizona, which is why we don't look like we're wearing, heavy clothing. So we were out in the desert. And the reason for that, next slide, was because I had to have my transplant at the Mayo Clinic. And this is the building in Arizona, the hospital. Long story short, I got my transplant. Things were great. 3 weeks later, I started a battle of a lot of different things that happened to me. I'll spare the details. Long story short, I'm lucky I walked out of this hospital alive because of the complications. And so I got to this hospital on December 22nd, 2010, and didn't leave until May 17th, 2011. Okay. I was in this hospital 76 days, not straight, but inside and out, and lived close by. So I had a major hurdle. I almost died. And I have major health complications to this day. I take a ton of medication to keep my kidneys working. I have to monitor kidneys. I have to be careful of what I do and how I do it. And that transplant led to a multitude of health issues that I have. My joke is that my issues have issues, right? Because they do. But at the end of the day, I still have to battle that every single day. So in my life, one of the big hurdles that I have to overcome on a daily basis is two things. One, my health and the constant reminder that I am not a healthy person at 40 years old. It wasn't anything I did. It wasn't my fault. It just happened. And as I have grown into being a partner at Charles Stephen and an owner, I also have to deal with the legacy that I am my father's son. And nothing wrong with being my father's son, but when you work in your family business, you have to work that much harder every day to prove yourself, because I battle a stigma every day of, well, of course he's successful. He's his kid, right? So I've always had to battle this on a daily basis. And I don't mind battling it. Obviously, the health one, I have two choices. I can battle it or not battle it. And not battling it, just, I got a lot to do and see before I decide not to battle it anymore, right? That's not an option to me. And the second one, I just work hard every day and do the right thing and don't try not to let it bother me that, I'm only where I am because I was cut from a good family, or I'm working in a father's business, and all of those things. Being a financial advisor, it takes a required set of skills and knowledge to do. And fortunately, being in that position, you couldn't fake it, right? I couldn't fake it and be successful in this business because it would be found out. So that's kind of how I've overcome. But those are constant battles that I deal with on a daily basis to get there. So I was really upset being sick for 6 months, obviously being 30 years old at the time. And I raced right back to Albuquerque, next slide, and started rebuilding again. I got a bunch of different designations that helped me every day. The year after I came back in 2012, I decided to be president of 2 young professional organizations in the same year and take on more of a role in my business because I was kind of an idiot and didn't take the time to recover because I felt I was behind. Again, remember, I kind of had this high bar and I felt like I had to race to catch up. And looking back, that probably wasn't the best thing for me to do, but it helped me get to where I was today, which is just kind of working hard and trying not to let the hurdles overcome that. Okay, next slide. So I want to leave the personal side of my life and how I got there. We're going to leave it on this slide for a little bit and I'll finish my story. But I'm going back to, again, where it looked like I had a really great childhood growing up. And did I have a lot of advantages that some kids didn't? Sure. But I took advantage of it and, applied myself to make the best that I could be from the position I'm in. And sometimes there's this iceberg illusion. People, you see success as an iceberg. You see people in a nice car, driving a nice car, living in a nice house, having nice things. And you see that and you make certain, perceptions of people and come to certain conclusions about those people. But what you don't see underneath is all of the things they've had to do to kind of get there. They don't see the dedication you do. They don't see the hard work. They don't see your good habits. They don't see the disappointment you go through or the sacrifices you make to do it. The failure, I don't like failure being below. I wish it was up top because my failures have led to the successes that I have. They're the best teaching moments you can have in your life. And those failures, the persistence, the sacrifice, all of those help lead to success. So after college, in 2008, despite my medical setback, my first job out was, while I was in college, I worked at a golf store selling golf clubs. I worked at Wells Fargo Bank as a teller. I've worked as a marketing person in a couple of different positions. And then when I moved back here, it was to be part of a big mortgage company in town, recruited me back to be part of their succession plan. And that didn't work out because of the 2008 financial crisis. And that's when I wanted to go back and join the family business. And the reason that I decided to be a financial advisor was I have that great love of sports. I have the great camaraderie, the great teaching. I love to be a coach. And with financial advising, that's what you get to be, is a coach. And that's what led me back into that role of, I really like this business. I get to set my own hours. I get to work for myself. I get to do what I want when I want, and I'm in control of my destiny. Now, that's not how everybody wants to do it. I know lots of people that don't want to be the boss. That's great too. That's just the path I chose because that's my personality, was going through a lot of those hardships and disappointments in the different job. I still remember the day I reported for my first job out of college. I got into the elevator. My boss, who I hadn't met, was on the elevator. I introduced myself. He's like, "Oh yeah, you're starting." He goes, "Was that today?" And I just didn't have a really good feeling that they had their stuff together. Like I don't know if they were excited for me to start or what, but I still remember to this day, and it didn't work out well because the company was not in good shape. They did not have a good plan, and I was miserable. And I turned down another job to take this job. And I really wish that day I would have had the foresight to trust my gut, turn around and go, "Ooh, something's wrong," get back on the elevator, call that other company and say I made a huge mistake. But again, that led to where I am today. So looking back, I really don't have any regrets about the path I chose. I just kept trying different things until I found what my passion was and what I wanted to do. Okay. Any questions? No. Okay. So that's the end of the slideshow, Lindsay. So you can put that down if you want or leave it there. So the topic of today was, why do you need a financial advisor? Like, why do you work with somebody like me? So I'll ask a question, everybody. When you think about a financial advisor, what's the first thing that comes to mind? And you can put it in the chat, or just think about it in your head. Okay. I don't know how to view the chat, Lindsay, so you can help me there. But anyway.
I'll let you know if something comes in.
Yep. So what a financial advisor does, and a financial planner, and their interchangeable words, is we help people develop a plan to manage their financial life. Okay. So I get to be an educator and a teacher and to help people. The common misconception in ours is we only help people with a lot of money. Okay. That is not what we do every day. Do we do that? Absolutely. Because different values of money, I work with 10 people that have $10 million to invest, and I work with people who have $10,000 to invest, and everywhere in between. And all of them, regardless of what it is, wants help with one thing. Am I going to run out of money if I retire and stop working? That's it. And again, the money changes because a larger amount requires a little more work, but it's all the same question. It's just a matter of zeros on a page. So if you look at math, right? 1 + 1 is 2, but 100 + 100 is 200. You could add as many zeros as you want, and the numbers still add up to the same. So to some people, $10,000 is a lot of money, and we treat them that way. To some people, 10 million is a lot of money. But here's the key that a financial advisor can help you with is, no matter what amount of money you have, no matter what you do in life, everybody needs a coach for something. I have a job because I know really smart people who build these amazing businesses and can run it day in and day out, but have no idea what to do with their money once they get it. Okay. That's why I have a job. A plumber makes really good money, right? Could be up to $80,000, $90,000 a year. I don't know how to do plumbing. So what do I have to do? I have to call a professional and have them come in and do it the right way. So what we are is the professionals in your financial life. Everybody should work with a financial advisor at some point in any capacity, because if you can learn to make good decisions with your money and good decisions about what you want to do with your money, the earlier you are, the more educated and the better you become later on in life. And the idea is, I talked failure was a good thing, and it is a good thing. But if we can limit the amount of failures one person learns, because all of us have had the failures already, that is what is amazing to help those people. I get to help people every day try to avoid mistakes that I personally have made in my life and the way other people can make them too. Making that mistake is okay, but helping people not be able to do that as frequently is why financial advisors have a job. We help plan your life as it goes so that you can do what you need to do to live your best life. Is that to retire? Is that you want your money to make more money? You want to be able to make good decisions for your family's future? Everybody needs a financial plan. Does anybody know what the most basic financial plan on the planet is? It's a budget. Okay? I got $100 in my allowance. I want to buy that new video game. It's $50. I made 100. I got 50. I got 50 left, right? So a question you can ask an advisor is, what do I do with that other 50? Now, I know when I was in middle school and high school, if I had that other 100, guess where that 50 was going? I was spending it, right? We all were. And that's okay. I don't do that now because I've kind of learned that, you need to save for a rainy day and all of those things. But one thing I am is I'm independent of my parents or whoever I live with that helps me with the money, right? So that's why as an adult, it's good to see a financial advisor, because you don't have that person to help you along the way to maybe make that decision. So now you may say, look, I got $100. I want to spend 50 on the video game, but I also want a new bike, and it's going to take me, it's $500. So it's going to take me 10 months to save up $50 to go buy that bike. I was teaching in a JA class several years ago, and I had an Apple Watch on, and a kid told me how lucky I was that I had an Apple Watch. And I said, well, why am I lucky? They said, well, your parents bought it for you. I said, my parents didn't buy it for me. I had to buy it for myself. So I had to save the money to get it, to go buy it, because that's what I wanted. So the basic budget that a financial advisor can help you with can help you start leading down that road. And then as you go decide what to do in your life, if you make changes in your job, that could be you. A financial advisor can help you, walk you through what that looks like. I'm making more money, less money. I'm getting benefits. I'm going to have a savings account I can invest in. All of those, you need someone to help bounce ideas off of. I get to help people determine through their life stages there's different stages of life to help them make good money decisions. Marriage, family, divorce, which is sad, but people need help there. They've just inherited money because their parents died. They have to help take care of their aging parents, right? Their parents are getting older and aren't in good health. How do they plan to do that? How do they take care of their parents? How do they take care of siblings or cousins that they have to deal with? They get promoted at work. And then all the way down to what is now known as retirement today. In the old days of retiring and not working anymore is actually less common than people deciding just to stop working full time and have the freedom to do what they want afterwards, right? I have a client that worked at Starbucks after because he missed the camaraderie of being in an office, and he kind of liked working with younger people because the younger people taught him a lot about what's going on in the world today. You all are very smart, very bright, and are up on all of the great things that are out there. So having that knowledge in a financial sense could help you make better decisions down the road and learn what you can do with your money and your plan and your life to be more confident when you make those decisions. I've always been told it's okay to ask for help, and that's what you do when you need a financial advisor. Young people need financial advice more than elderly people or people retired or people nearing retirement that have their stuff together. Because if I can help a couple now that may not have any money to invest, but help build them a plan now. That plan, using the compounding interest that you get when you invest money, to saving, to having that plan, to having that budget, how much more could you have down the road? Or how much could you have to accomplish the goals you're looking to accomplish? I want to remodel my house. I want to buy my first house. I'm buying my first car. What does that mean? Hey, Adam, I have money in my account I don't know what to do with, but I feel like I should be doing something. How much should I save in my savings account? You know, I'm just starting to work. Should I save for retirement in an IRA? Should I save for retirement in a Roth IRA? Should I just invest it normally? What are some of those things to look at? I'm starting a business. What should I do to protect my business? What kind of insurance should I get? You know, is the right car insurance I'm getting the right insurance for you? My favorite are the Liberty Mutual commercials. You know, only pay for what you need. My question to everybody is, how do you know what you need? Right? I don't even know what I need, and I'm really good at this. But that's why seeing an insurance agent can help me find things that I'm not aware of and not thinking about to consider when purchasing that insurance. As a financial advisor, it's the same way. It's as you go through life and have different life stages and different things that happen in your life, having an advisor there to simply do what it says, which is advise. Let me give you my expertise, the pros, the cons, ideas about what you can do. It's kind of, we're going to put a puzzle up on the wall with just the frame, right? Just the corner pieces done. And then I get to help you fill in what the rest of that looks like in a financial sense. So having a financial advisor is like having a coach. You know, the team, you all execute, go out and play. You're the talent. You're the one out there doing it. But having a good coach right now really helps you. Look at the NCAA tournament, right? Big March Madness. Everybody knows what's going on. The players are doing really well, but they've had a plan. And the coaches have helped them formulate that plan so that they can go out and know what to do to be successful. So I hope today sharing that a financial advisor is like a coach, is like a mentor, is that helpline. You know, there was How to Be a Millionaire. A lot of people on this probably don't know that show. It was an old show. And if you answered questions right, you worked your way up to $1 million. Well, one of you had 3, what they called lifelines, and you could pull them if you were in trouble and didn't know the answer to the question. You could get a hint, I think. You could do what's called phone a friend, or I think you could pass. But the phone a friend was, hey, I know somebody who's really good and knows a lot about history. I'm going to call them to get this answer. That's what a financial advisor does. All right, I got this decision coming up and I don't know what to do with this. Let me call the advisor and see if he's got some ideas to help point me in the right direction. That's what I get to do every day, and it's fun. So at Charles Stephen, we help people of all shapes, sizes, backgrounds, you know, monetary, economic demographics, regular demographics, because we believe a financial education, you don't have to be the expert, but having the knowledge and the wisdom to ask for help and get that help will just make you more successful in reaching whatever your financial goals are. And for a lot of people, they're different. It's not just about getting rich. It's about they want to make sure that they can give money to charity. They want to make sure that their kids, if something happens to them, has a good life, or goes to college. Or, you know, you want to make sure that if you ever lose your job, you have enough savings in your account to cover it. And you had a plan that you could still live and not worry about having a job until you found your next job. It's things like that that an advisor can help you do. And then as you move through the stages of life, we can help you invest your money differently, make it work for you, you know, help you build that wealth, right? And that wealth is, and when I use that word wealth, people think very, very wealthy people. Well, that's the original content, but wealth to you and everybody on this call is going to be different. Is wealth the freedom of time to do what you want, to be able to stay home if you have a baby and work? Is it to stop working to take care of your family? Is it to have changes that, you know, you don't have to work full time so you can spend time with, you know, a significant other? what are all of those what does wealth mean to you? And those advisors can help you find the answers to accomplish that. That's really all I had to share kind of about what I do on a daily basis and why financial advisors are necessary and why you should work with one, once you get to a point where you feel you need it. But for now, are there any questions?
Excellent. Thank you so much, Adam. There are a few questions in the chat box that I will start us off with. So how should very young people enter this realm? For instance, a recent high school graduate who has completed a dual credit certificate at C&M and is entering their job at 19 or 20 years old.
Well, great question. So if you're entering your job at 19 or 20 years old, the budget's the first place to start. Now, this isn't a perfect answer for everybody, but a good rule of thumb that I've always told people is see if you can live off 85% of the money you bring home. Okay? Meaning if you brought home $100, just to make the math work, learn to live on 85. That includes rent, your car insurance, gas, everything you can think of. And that other 15%, save it. Either in a savings account, you can open retirement accounts, but that may be a little premature for 18 or 19, and learn to live off of that. If your company that you're joining has benefits and a 401k or a 403b or a retirement account, take that 15% and put it in there. That's a great option. Another option is to build up a savings account with expenses. But the budget will help you determine what you need. And what happens is as you keep getting raises, the amount you learn to live on grows, but then the amount you learn to save grows. And by using that strategy, whether it's 5%, 10%, whatever you're comfortable with, you slowly build up. There's no right or wrong amount to invest. It's what you can afford to invest and what makes sense for you. But if you start by saving a certain amount of money, starting from day one, you will be light years ahead of your peers that haven't done that. So I kudos to you for getting ahead of the curve with the double credit and starting into a job right away. But figure out how much you can live off of using that budget. And then what you'll be able is, as you start that budget, you'll be able to determine what you can afford and what you can spend on a monthly basis. And that will continue to drive good habits the rest of your life.
Excellent. Thank you. Question from the registration. What is the best advice you've ever received?
So, that's a tough one. I've gotten a lot of great advice. I'll do this with a quote that I have on my desk, and I write in my planner every quarter, and I've kind of used it my whole life. And the quote is this: chance favors the prepared mind. And the reason I like that is if your mind is prepared, when a chance comes along, you'll be able to grab it. And to me, what the quote really talks about is arming yourself with the skills or the knowledge or the talent that you want to have. So when that opportunity comes for you to shine, you're on it. And that's why I think that's some of the best advice I've given is be yourself, work hard. Don't let, there's all the cliches I've gotten. But I think for me, the best advice has been always prepare your mind for what you want to accomplish or what you want to do. And when the chance comes around, you'll be able to jump on it. And for me, that has been extremely helpful my whole life to get where I've wanted to go and prepared myself for whatever comes my way.
That's excellent advice. Thank you. A question from the chat. Are there any other stigmas people should know around financial advisors?
Yes. If you've ever, and I don't recommend this because it's a rated R movie, so I'm going to say that, but we are not the Wolf of Wall Street. That is not my office. We're not Wall Street from the movie. We're not Boiler Room from the movie. There's a misconception that financial advisors are flashy and they make a lot of money because it costs a lot to do this. The answer is, can they? I mean, I can earn unlimited amount of money doing what I do. But what it comes into question is, am I doing what's right by my client? And what does that look like to other people? So I think there's a stigma about flashiness. That's a very small amount of people in our industry. I'm a financial advisor. I don't work on Wall Street. Wall Street are traders and active mortgage banker or mergers and acquisitions. They're in there trading every day. I don't do that. I help people build plans and then help invest their money to go with the plan. It's not about how much, making the most amount of money we can make in a short period. So I think the stigma is, you have to have a minimum to deal with them. Now, some firms are like that, but I would encourage you, if you're looking to do some of those stigmas, do your homework. There's a lot of resources out there. Learn how they do things. Is it, are they planners or are they advisors? There's a difference. If they're planners, that's good. They're going to help you with all the things I talked about. Advisors may only help you with the money. I can get you amazing returns, it's a possibility, but if your plan isn't set up, it won't matter, because the plan is what keeps things structured and on task. If you make a ton of money and then go out and, spend it all, on that new fancy record player, you always hear those old ladies talk about in movies, right? You made all that money, that's great, but now you don't have anything left, right? Whereas the stigma around being a planner is good. There's stigmas that were flashy. There was a gentleman in New York, some of you may or may not know, his name was Bernie Madoff, but he was an advisor and he ran the biggest Ponzi scheme and stole millions and millions and millions of dollars from really good working people. So there's a misconception that all financials are that way. Financial advisors are that way. So like anything else around stigmas, there's a reason they exist, but those are usually the exception and not the norm, is what I would say, in anything you do with, right? Police is a good example. A lot of people think all police are bad. We definitely have an issue with police, but I don't think all police are bad. Just like I don't think all firemen are bad, or all lawyers are bad, or all teachers are bad, or being a plumber is not good work, or being a financial advisor is the best job in the world. All of those are stigmas that came from somewhere. I would say that the biggest stigma of all is that's not who we are, for the most part.
Thank you. We'll do an opportunity for anyone to unmute and ask a question. Any brave souls? And if not, then I will go into the next question from the registration. Okay, so what is the easiest and hardest part of your job?
Oh, the hardest part of my job is giving bad news, or and trying to help people or calm people down. Money is very personal, like health is. And when a lot of the news and stuff in the market's bad or the market's good, the hardest part is trying to tell people it's going to be okay, because I know it is, because of my experience. Another part is, we deal with a lot of people, and we always have a few of our clients pass away every year. That's very hard. Then it's hard to see their family and to talk about, unfortunately, what I do really comes to light when people pass away, because I've done all of this great planning for them. And the planning, when something happens, it goes boom, 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 and everything falls into place. That's sad, because it's not what I like doing, is hearing about people passing away. But, we build relationships with clients. I've been doing this 11 years, and I know people, some of my best friends now are clients. They just happen to work that way. I like the people I work with. That's the favorite part of my job, It is always changing. It is always adapting. And that's the other part a financial advisor does, is we stay on top of the changes that you all won't know or see about. That's our job. So as these changes happen, I get to, learn every day and pivot every day. It's not boring. It's not stuck behind a desk droning over the same thing, right? I get to be out and talk to people and be around people and help people. That's the best. The worst is the stuff where you have to give bad news or deal with a bad situation. Because, we're human beings, so we feel bad for everybody. And because I'm heavily regulated by the government, there are limits to what I can do and how I can help. And in some cases, my hands are tied, and that's not fun.
Thank you. If there's any other questions coming through the chat, or otherwise we'll be respectful of everyone's time and we'll wrap up. All righty. So thank you so much, Adam, and thank you to the students and teachers that are on the call today. But before we log off, we'll do a couple of our announcements. So as normal, following the presentation, you'll be asked to complete a post-program mindset survey. And by completing the survey, you'll be entered into a drawing to win a Dion's gift card. So please take the time to put yourself into the running for that. And so then a huge thank you to all of our gift card donors during this time. And teachers, please make sure that if you're on the call, make sure that you send the link to your students so that they can participate in that survey as well. And lastly, please join us next week as we move into the second week of our Inspiring NM Student Conference. Next week's topic will focus around managing your money, and we will be welcoming Kathy Romero from Wells Fargo and Ruben Reyes from the New Mexico Education Assistance Foundation. So please keep an eye out to your emails so that you can register for that if you haven't already. Thank you so much, Adam, and thank you to everyone on the call, and I hope to see you all next week.